right, so welcome to this week's Unikernel application spotlight. This week we're looking at NaviServer. So Navi is comes from NaviSoft, and that was a company that AOL bought all the way back in like 1994, 1995. So that's the origin of this guy, right? A lot of people don't realize this, but there's a lot of software that we use day in, day out that's actually fairly old. Um, it, Navi server itself probably is not used that much anymore. But to give you an example, something like a Postgres, I mean, Postgres started in like 81 or something. That's Ingress, right? And then like only around 93, 94, again, this is kind of special time in software, it got rebranded to Postgres. But it's essentially the same thing that's been going on for a long time. And so when you see Twitter talking about it in the past 3 or 4 years, is like, oh, it's the newest thing, and you see like a super base and all this stuff. I mean, it's honestly been basically the same forever. Now, Navi Server is interesting because when it was released in '94, well, so it wasn't actually released then. Again, so like AOL bought it, and then it was open sourced in the early 2000s. So definition of released is not really black and white there. For that definition, we're talking about when was it actually in use, and so that was like early 90s. But for that time period, it had a lot of interesting features. Accessing threads and using async and just all sorts of interesting things. And if you look at the code base, and code base is actually pretty nice, actually, in comparison to some other code bases of that time period. So, anyways, it's a web server at the end of the day. It's meant to run many different vhosts and so forth. Has a lot of different functionality. The API is just, as you can see, there's a bunch of it. Now, there's a lot of this stuff that we obviously would not support in Nanos, not without heavy refactoring. But the basics of like the integration with TCL, the language, and so forth, that does work, and that's what we're going to show off today. Now, their main project is actually over on SourceForge, as far as I know, and this GitHub is more of a mirror. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the case is. The main activity actually happens over on SourceForge. So if you were writing software around, 99, 2000, 2001, that time period, SourceForge was the GitHub back then. And Slashdot was the Hacker News and all that sort of stuff. So that's where their project is. This is actually still used in other upstream projects today. So that's interesting. If you want to get the package, you can just get it from the repository here. We're gonna pull it up here. And we can go ahead and kind of get into it here. So we'll do RxAMD64. I think everything else is good. So it pops open. I have all my logging going to the foreground. Now, when I do these things, these are all demos, right? So, perhaps you don't want to do this. Perhaps you actually want it to ship it to an actual log file. And one of the reasons you might want to do that in a prod environment is because writing to serial is super slow, and it's you generally don't want to write to serial if you can avoid it in a prod setting. Just putting that out there. But yeah, it loads it up, and we can kind of check it out. So this is the welcome page. It says, hey, here's some security notices and so forth. We have different modules. Like I said, there's a lot of modules that we probably don't really work well with. In particular, like a CGI doesn't really make sense. But you do have access to TCL and other modules that could work with that. Now, if you wanted to do something, like say, let's check it out. Make a new route, for instance. We can do ops image image ls nsd, get our variants here. So user lib ns, I think. Let's do user lib, user local. Yeah, so user local ns. So you can just make a new page. In this case, we have hello.html, cat this guy out. Oh, because that's his directory. We should fix this. Interesting. I'll make a note of that. But ops image cat, and then our image name NSD, and then the actual page that we want. So pretty simple. Hello world. We can pull that up. It does what we want. So hello.html. Now, if you want something a little bit more dynamic, we can go on the hunt again here. So do lsnsd user local ns, and I believe this one is probably in conf, right? No, not conf. Modules maybe. New. Let's see. Include. It would be in not CGI. Oh, TCL. Here we go. Yeah. So this is our TCL directory. And so these are all different things running. TCL, user local, NSL, hello2.tcl. So I named it hello2 just so I could, have different routes. And basically we just do this ns register proc for get hello2, and then we just do a return 200 with hello world. And so this is actual TCL that you can return. And as you can see, it does as expected. Now, if you want something a little bit more complex, there's other here as well. So yeah, they have the open ACS and so forth. Like a form example, for instance, has it. But yeah, so this is NaviServer. That's interesting. I cut it as package 500, but now it's saying it's 5.10. I didn't catch that. Anyways, I thought this was a nice little throwback to the past. Like I said, this came out. This was in use as early as like 93, 94, and it's still in use today by other projects, other upstream projects. But this is a NaviServer with TCL running on the Nanos Unikernel. All right, till next week.